discovery. And how do we make it feel natural and urgent at the same time? This is what sales teams are struggling with at the moment, and whether you use, whichever methodology you use in your business right now, in your sales teams or as an individual, discovery is a key part at the start of the process, as we all know. But how do you conduct an effective discovery session? Well, I'm about to show you right now. Let's do a very, very quick masterclass, and I've built out 3 simple steps to make urgency feel supernatural. Not supernatural, but natural. You get my point. Okay, step 1. We want to highlight the gap. Current versus desired state. Clearly show your prospect the painful gap between where they are now and where they could be with your solution. For example, you mentioned missing quarterly targets by 10%. What if that gap continues? What happens then? Yeah. Now you found something out in your discovery, and in that you've got to bank it. They could be talking. This is where you need to be listening. It's all well and good. I see sales reps do this all the time. They ask a killer discovery question, and then they sit back and admire their work. Think of it like the football player on the pitch plays a beautiful ball out wide and just admires it. Oh, I've pinged that. Listen, son, you still got to make your run. Yeah. So don't just stop and admire your discovery question. Yes, you asked a killer question. Doesn't mean you're going to get a killer answer. And it might mean that your prospect hits you like verbal diarrhea, so many things going on, and you need to pick out the most important bits, which means these 2 things need to be fully engaged, and this stays closed. All right. Now, of all the garbage that they'll say, there'll be some gems in there. You mentioned missing quarterly targets by 10%. They've mentioned that. Bank it. Remember it. You're missing quarterly targets by 10% each quarter. What happens if that gap continues? What happens then? What's the knock-on effect? Yep. Step 2, quantify the cost of doing nothing. Right? Super straightforward. Show your prospect the price they'll pay if they stay stuck. We're just having a very, very simple conversation. For example, if things stay the same, that's 200 grand lost revenue every quarter. Can your team afford that? From a curiosity standpoint, this is how you want your discovery conversations to go. You don't want it to be, are you the budget holder? Okay, cool. Do you have the authority to sign this off? What are we doing? What timelines is this working to? No, none of that robotic shit. You need to be asking poignant questions that get them thinking, and you need to ask it from a place of curiosity. If things stay the same, there's 200 grand lost of revenue every quarter. Can your team really afford that? What is the knock-on effect of that? Because that's a lot of money, right? That's almost $1 million a year in lost revenue. What happens if we can fix even half of that? What does that look like then for you? How does that impact your week personally, Mr. and Mrs. Prospect? Yeah. What will that free you up to do? And then your final step, create a deadline for action. Okay. Frame your solution around a time frame that forces a decision. For example, we typically onboard new clients within 2 weeks. If we delay this further, the next opportunity to fix this won't be until next quarter. Okay. And AE is moving this along. If you're an SDR, what could you say? Right, it sounds like to me you're losing X, Y, and Z amount per quarter. The longer we leave this, if we leave this another quarter, that's going to be another 100 grand lost in revenue. Not sure you can afford to do that. My suggestion would be, let's book in a call with our AE, our solutions expert, whatever you refer to them as, and just investigate this a little bit further, because I believe there may be a solution that can actually help you out here. Probably take about 25 to 30 minutes of your time. Does that sound doable? Yes, Neil, actually, yeah, it does. No, it doesn't, Neil. Yes, Neil, it does. Book it in. No, it doesn't, Neil. Cool. Just confused. Based on what you told me, again, have a human conversation. Based on what you told me, you're losing a ton of money. I don't see why you wouldn't have the next meeting with us to explore a potential fix for you, unless there's a priority here that I'm missing. Is there something that's more important than losing 200K a quarter? Like, genuinely, if there is, that's fine. I'm just confused. You want to go in with that type of curious mindset, and then you want to create a deadline for action. Yeah. SDR example there. You're losing this much this quarter. We leave this meeting another quarter. What's that going to cost you? AE, typically we onboard clients within 2 weeks. If you delay this further, the next opportunity to fix this won't be until next quarter. What impact is that going to have on you? Yeah. So to wrap up, or recap rather, number one, expose the painful gap. This is how you want to go into your discovery calls with these 3 steps in mind. I'm going in to expose the painful gap. Don't be afraid to dig deep. Clearly show the prospect exactly what they're missing without your solution. That is your aim. And to do that, you need to ask the right discovery questions. Number 2, put a price on inaction. The numbers don't lie. Show them exactly how much it costs to delay. Make the pain real and measurable. Mr. Prospect, you told me at the start of this call that because of X, Y, and Z, you've got a shortfall of 200 grand per quarter. That's 800K a year. If we delay this another quarter, you're now in the red by another 200 grand, which is £1 million. Can we really afford to do that? Put a price on inaction, which creates that urgency. Create real deadlines. Give them a time frame. Urgency comes from limits. Clearly state when they need to act to avoid consequences. And again, look, guys, I'm not expecting you to pick this up straight overnight. This isn't something that's going to happen instantly. You've got to train yourself, right? You want to start quantifying pain. You want to paint clear gaps, and then you want to set firm deadlines and have that as a framework. All we're doing here is building a framework, a bit of structure for you to go out there and implement your questions. You can navigate wherever you want within this framework, but just remember, you're trying to quantify pain points. You're trying to paint clear gaps, and then you're going to set firm deadlines. You're basically affirming that, hey, if you do nothing and stay still, this is what it's going to cost you. And that's the dynamic, that's the mindset I want you to go in at when you're doing this. Because it is going to feel a bit odd at first, right? I'm trying to create urgency, and my sales manager told me, well, Bant, we're using Bant. I need to find out, okay, do they have the budget and the authority? But you've already lost your prospect by then. If they gave you time at the first instance, they're going to shut you down by not showing up at the meeting. Yeah, that is a fact. You need to make sure that you touch upon a pain point that is important to them. If they can't see it, it's your job to paint the picture of why it should be important to them and why it should be a priority for them to fix. You'll get used to it. Turn it into a natural, normal conversation. Guys, I've got a ton of discovery questions. I've put my 50 best together, but there's another 50 behind that as well. I've added the link in here. You can actually get it in the description. Click on it, download it for free. It's yours. It's all segregated into different verticals as well, different questions and what type of questions they are. So they've put into their own individual brackets. Use them. Pick some of those out and start implementing them in your day-to-day discovery calls. It's going to make a massive difference. Don't be afraid to dig deep, because if you don't dig deep, you're not going to get a deal. And bonus point for you SDRs and AEs, when you're doing discovery and you find pain, don't get that excited and think, I've got to jump to demo, I've got to jump to meeting booked. Just take that next step to dig a little bit further, because if you can dig a little bit further when you found pain, and then you may be able to connect that pain to the wider business, that's when a deal goes from 5K to 100K. And that is how promotions happen. Guys, if you enjoyed that, make sure you like and subscribe. And if you want to see the full podcast, click right here.